back to another episode of the Blue Honor Vlog. I'm Kay Williams, author of op-dec Operation Deceit, the Trailokya Trilogy, and Blue Honor, the Civil War drama. Today I'd like to talk about Blue Honor's anniversary, actually. Back in 2018 it was the 10-year anniversary, and I missed that. I was super busy raising an infant. I had lost Sadie, and I was adopting Finn. There was a lot going on in my life then, and things have since calmed down. So it's kind of like the 13th year anniversary. So that's pretty cool. I can't believe that it's been out for over a decade. That story is what started it all for me, at least in publishing. When I first started writing, I had no idea where to even begin. There was a learning curve and everything, and I had been a reader my entire life, so no one should think that going into writing that you just happen to know exactly what you're going to do. I didn't know if I wanted to write film, books, short stories, poetry. Poetry is by far the most difficult writing in my esteem. I think it's very difficult to write that. It's so deeply connected to your inner workings and emotion and all of that, and it is vulnerability, like on paper, and I'm not really okay with that at all. And one could argue that, you know, the novels and stuff, especially for me, Trailokya, which delves into a lot of personal areas, it draws from all this personal stuff, is bordering on that, and it really is, and that was difficult for me too. You'll see that each of the books also has a poem at the front of them, so it was kind of like a growth point, if you want. And it's so vastly different from Blue Honor. Blue Honor is a drama. That's not something that I usually even write, but it is where I had started. I studied history in my bachelor's degree in writing, and Blue Honor started out as a final paper, a research paper, fiction. So I researched all the history, etc., and I wrote this 80-page story to go with it, to display the history of the time period and all the things that were going on, and maybe some of the attitudes and stuff of the people, just how life was so vastly different in that period too, much slower. It was harder to get around, harder to communicate. I mean, we can send an email in the blink of an eye. We don't have to wait. I recently saw a video where a gentleman was talking about his partner overseas in, I think it was Iraq, and something happened to his partner, and he had to wait because they were communicating at the time, and it just went like dead or something. There was no further communication. And because it was the time of don't ask, don't tell, he couldn't ask. He couldn't, like, he had no rights to communication, etc., even though they were together, and that was his partner. So he had to worry for days on end. So he knows exactly what Emily is going through, holding that breath, waiting to get that next letter, and hoping that it is post-dated to anything that you've read in the newspaper, because the news moved a little bit faster. Letters went as fast as they could, but I mean, war really holds that stuff up, and they're out in rural Vermont, so it not only has to get from the battlefield to a postal service somewhere in Virginia, and then, you know, everything is being rerouted and focused on the war, so transportation and stuff is being refocused, and then that letter has to make it up into Vermont, you know, so it's changing hands and stuff. So it took quite a long time for things to go back and forth, and you would be holding your breath. I can't even imagine holding my breath for a day, wondering if the person that I love made it through a battle. my dad was National Guard, and I remember holding my breath when Desert Storm was called up, and he got the phone call to be on call. I just remember holding my breath with that. So I can't imagine, because he was sitting right there. I was just holding my breath, hoping that he wouldn't go, because I didn't want to have to think about him overseas, away from us, and I didn't want to have to pray every day for his life. And so much love and respect to those who put their life on the line for the things that they believe in. Every day. That's so hard. And in Blue was hard in itself too, like that. It was such an emotional roller coaster, with rejections and trying to find its place in this world. And the first edition came out, and I used it as a means to earn enough money to afford an editor and move on to the next book. By that time I just wanted it out from under me. But I met this wonderful editor, Kara Storty, who wrote the book Tripping Back Blue, which is about teen substance use. It's an excellent book. You should look that up. Kara Storty, S-T-O-R-T-I, Tripping Back Blue. She helped me pare it down and edit it down and polish that up and make it the book that it needed to be. The second edition is fabulous. Since my publisher had closed and stuff, I was able to keep the cover and the edition and everything, which made me very happy because there was so much work put into that. I couldn't imagine having to abandon something and not have ownership over it at that point, with so much effort and stuff having gone into it. So everything did revert back to me. And then I just put it out on my own. I figure I might as well stay indie instead of bashing my head against the wall. I have to do all of the same things. So that's it. And Blue is still out there. It's still loved by readers, and it just kind of blows my mind. I've had thoughts of writing a sequel, but I don't know if I'll ever get to that, because I really have to kind of study again that later half of the 19th century and really delve into race issues, etc. And right now focusing on Trailokya and all of that mythology, etc. I'm just constantly floating in that. And it's quite possible that going to Agart will kind of inspire me to that Victorian period again, and I'll want to revisit. In the meantime, op-dec's sequel has been drafted, and just kind of letting that percolate, and then I'll be reaching out to find editors and stuff for that, which will be cool. But 13 years since you hit that button on publish with that, and it just kind of blows my mind. Completed and out there in the world, and it's been a long time, and that's crazy. And I'm glad that it's in the shape that it's in at this point, and that I pursued it. Don't give up. The road to publishing isn't easy, but you'll get there and you'll persevere. Right now I'm back in the same boat all over again with screenwriting, because screenwriting is much more difficult because you require a whole other team to work with, and you've got to convince them to come on board. So learning to pitch write and stuff, that's a trip. That's hard. But I'm getting great feedback, and that's helping me hone my pitch writing skills. And I'm hoping more than anything to see Trailokya picked up as a series. And actually all of you can help with that, buying copies, sharing it with your friends, talking about it, subscribing here, getting me on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, and just kind of blowing it up. If you liked the book, your word of mouth is priceless to me. I can only pay so much for advertising and everything else to get it out there. But having you go out into the world and tell other people, look, you've got to check this out, and just starting that ball rolling like that, that gets the attention. And my pitch becomes moot, really. They'll be knocking at my door, and that's free. You just have conversations in social media, or say, what have you been reading? And you just post that, and that's free to do, leaving reviews, etc. This is how you actually help your authors. You talk them up to other people and try to get other people to read the books. So make sure that you subscribe, click the button down below, and I will see you back here next month. Have a great day.